5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to another edition of Web Boxing Podcast 101. I'm your host, like always, Luis Trevino, also known as Tree in the community, in the boxing community and law enforcement community. Your host, like always, and our first show of 2020. So we like to welcome all my listeners, all the people that listen when we record it as well. So welcome everybody on our first podcast of the year 2020. And like I said, last year promised to be a bigger year coming. We got bigger guests. And you know what? We wanted to also focus this year on more of the amateur world. The amateur world of boxing that needs a lot of attention and a lot of information needs to be dealt with and heard because the amateur program is hurting. So that's to come in 2020. But also we also got a lot of the pro stuff coming as well. Speaking of pro, we got Golden Eagle Promotions on the show coming up. We also got we had the IBF featherweight champion Jennifer Hahn, but we will also be talking about that as she has a huge show coming up February the 15th in El Paso, Texas, as part of the big non-title card fight, but it's coming. The title fight coming up later this year with the IBF sweetheart, El Paso sweetheart of boxing, Jennifer Hahn, on the show. Folks, don't forget also that you can listen to it live, as we're going to go live right now on the Online Boxing Reporter online magazine. That's where you can see the show live right now with our guest. And if you don't know what the Boxing Reporter online magazine is, it's just an online magazine that reports boxing. Anything that has to do with the pro world, from several sources, from ESPN to Boxing News 24/7, and then also the amateur world. The Online Reporter broadcast online stuff, upcoming events, upcoming clinics, and showcases events as well. So you can see it live there. And then also, if you didn't catch it live this morning, you can catch it on YouTube. 39th episodes, you can catch them on tomorrow when you're at work. Just go to YouTube and you can listen to past broadcasts. Listen to the likes of Junior Vicencio, Daniel Ponce de Leon, Hector Camacho Jr. has been on the show, Mr. Ray Mancera from the WBC, Crosstown Boxing that's going to have today. You can listen to them as well. So all the recorded podcasts, you can go back to YouTube and listen to them. So folks, again, don't forget to comment on our live page and stay tuned with the podcast. And you know, the podcast is the first of its kind in El Paso and West Texas, serving Las Cruces, New Mexico, El Paso, Texas, Ciudad Juarez, Midland, Odessa, and it is a first of its kind because there's not another podcast like that. So we want to give back to the community, and don't forget this podcast also is coming to you by way of Warriors Edge Boxing Gym / promotions in the heart of El Paso, Texas 915. And folks, we are now live at the Online Boxing Reporter Facebook time, and with our show today is none other than Mr. Mike Clark, also known to the boxing community as Big Mike. Mike, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Miguel Mata is watching. You want to say hello to your people that are watching on Facebook and if they're going to be watching?
Hey, shout out to Las Cruces, Crosstown Boxing. All you people who follow us in Las Cruces, we really appreciate you, and thank you for all the donations and the help you've been giving us to start our new gym. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad to be here and try to represent Crosstown and the USA Boxing Amateurs.
And you know what, Mike? We're honored to have you here on the show. Thank you for coming out, man. It's a Saturday. I know you're busy, but thank you for taking that drive to come out here. Because, like you said, we were talking earlier. It's all about the boxing community, and you said one thing important: anything to do with boxing, we're here.
Anything boxing for the kids, that's what I'm here for.
Good. Well, Mike, we're going to start just kicking it off. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, where are you from, and how did you get into boxing?
I'm from Las Cruces, New Mexico. I went to Mayfield High School. I served from 1985 to 88 in the military. I was in the Army.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. You're welcome, and thank you. I also worked in the corrections department in New Mexico for 21 years.
Thank you for your service.
I have a wife. You know what I do. I'm married, and I have a wife. She's the big backbone of this whole situation. She helps me out with everything with this team.
They all are hard. In every boxing gym, they're that 2x4 that keeps the house up, right?
Yeah, you know, they don't have to, and you know, you miss a lot of important dinners and events with family and stuff like that, you know. And I got 3 beautiful grandboys and a beautiful granddaughter. I got 4 kids, and they're all supportive of it. So, you know, my mom's a big time boxing fan. My father, who passed away, was a big time boxing fan. Plus, he also fought. He was a boxer. And my uncles were all boxers. So, I fought back in. I started boxing back in Las Cruces, and when I was 6 years old, with my dad and Chico Segura. And then after that, I went on with Sammy Burke and Larry Reno.
Sammy Burke.
Yes, sir. He was a good man.
How many amateur fights did you have, Mike?
Well, man, back then I don't even remember. I just remember just being a little kid. I'd say about 40 to 50 fights.
40 to 50 fights? Wow, man. In the amateur world, did you ever go pro?
No, I went to the Army. Got in some trouble. That's why I took off.
Went to the Army? And,
Yeah.
and you said how many years were you in the Army?
I was in there with 4 years.
4 years in the Army. Well, thank you for your service, man.
Appreciate
You know what? Always salute to all the our armed forces for what they do and giving us that freedom. But also, Mike, thank you for working in the law enforcement world of corrections. You obviously saw, I mean, working inside the walls is something that people really don't understand until they they lace up a pair of boots and walk in there, right?
Oh, yeah. That's, like I tell everybody, they ask me what I used to see in the prison. You meet a lot of interesting people.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting people. But then, you know, you meet a lot of people who just had the wrong direction in life. And, you know, what's changed my life is when you used to see 17-year-olds doing life in prison because they had
17-year-olds in life.
models, no role models, nobody to mentor them, nobody to try to guide them to the right way and sit them down and talk to them.
So you mentioned that, so I'm assuming then that's why you came into boxing, but, and of course you were involved in boxing, but now it leads us to Crosstown Boxing, and can you tell us a little bit about the Crosstown Boxing empire?
Well, Crosstown Boxing is started in 2013. I had a couple of pro fighters, Juan Torres and Beto Torres. They were both MMA fighters. They both decided they wanted to try the boxing world. And what took place from there, I had 3 of my godsons. There's little Chris Amazar, Gabriel Amazar, and Roman Amazar.
Okay.
And they used to go there and watch these guys train, and they were just like 7 years old, and they kept bugging me, saying, "Can you teach us? Can you teach us?" So they'd always watch. And when I sit there and watch them, I saw how they started progressing.
Uh-huh.
And so I started training them too, and that's where it led into just going straight into the amateurs. I just let go of the other part. I said, this is what I want to do, just work with the kids, because they started off in their first fights. And little Chris now, he's 11 years old. He has about 30 amateur fights. His brothers all got over the 20 fights. So, you know, they do real well.
So that's how Crosstown, and the name Crosstown Las Cruces, I'm assuming? Okay,
no,
tell us about it.
See, that's a lot of people think that Crosstown starts for, I put it down for Las Cruces. What Crosstown is that I have kids from all over town, crosstown.
Right.
So I got kids from different middle schools. I got kids from different high schools. I got kids from different elementaries, and I'm trying to bring them all together. So instead of it being a district, it's a community of
It's a
kids.
community, okay.
You bring them all together, and that's the problem. I think a lot of times is that we separate these kids too much by districts and west side, east side, north side, south side. I think if we bring them all together in one area, it kind of unites and gets kids more to know that there's kids out there just like them on the other side of town.
That's how it came about?
Yes, sir.
And what about the boxer there? Just because it's a dog that's a boxer and we're into boxing?
I just saw it and I liked it. I saw it with it and I liked it a lot.
And it's a pretty cool logo, man. So you talk about crosstown boxing. How many gyms are in Las Cruces? And you have so many kids. We talked before the show, and you told me you have. I mean, you're probably one of the biggest gyms as far as having sanctioning fighters. Is it because the lack of gyms in Las Cruces?
No, it's not the lack. It's I guess it's different. We kind of stand out a little bit because we do a lot more than just boxing. Yeah,
Okay.
we do. We're more of we treat kids like family.
Okay.
We're a family, and every week we sit down with our kids and we have meetings, and we'll sit there and we'll go over subjects like schooling and respecting your parents and respecting each other and just we talk to them.
Damn, that's old school.
Yeah,
They don't
they-
do that no more.
no,
I haven't heard of something like that do that.
Yeah, you got to. You have to sit there and explain it to them.
And you know what? Because now kids now in these days are like before, but they're into drugs. High schools are horrible, man. It's so important that you sit down with them and you talk to them about life. Correct?
Yeah, and see, and that's the thing is you know what? It's like I tell everybody, everybody says today's kids have changed. Kids haven't changed at all. Society has let them down. We're letting them down.
Okay.
We're not doing what we need to do.
Do you think, Mike, and I don't mean to interrupt, do you think that you're competing against the social media giant?
You know what? That's the big thing. You know, it's like when you have parents coming to you saying, "Oh I can't get my son off the cell phone," or "I can't get my daughter off cell phone. I can't get them off, just social media or the video games." And my answer to them is, "Well, turn it off." I mean, you got to show them that you're in charge. You're not their friend. You're their parent. So when my fighters show up to the gym, they show up with their phones. They got to drop them off at the front door. They put them in the basket and we lock it up.
I love it,
They're
man.
not
We
supposed
don't do
to
that
have
here.
no social media. I try to talk
Take
my
notes.
kids out. I don't like social media. I think our kids, we're subjecting them to more bullying, not just from school, but we do it on social media.
Okay, you say you're subjecting him to more bully. We used to fight so much in high school when we were growing up. How do you get subjected to bully? Isn't bully just, and you speak about bully, that yesterday there was an article in the El Paso Times or in the news that this kid here in El Paso got bullied. Horrible black guy, needed surgery. The parents want to know why. And then I'm sitting there, I go, well, poor kid, right? But man, I remember we used to fight a lot in school. Was that bullying, or how is it more subjective now than before?
Bullying's always been there.
Yeah,
It's like I explained to
I agree.
everybody, bullying's there. It's not only in school, it's in the workforce. It's everywhere you go. Bullying, it doesn't matter. No, wherever you go, there's going to be bullying.
I agree.
But I think the problem is that we're so much on, these kids don't know how to communicate no more. They don't know how to talk to each other. They don't socialize because everything's by text.
Everything's by
Everything like
text.
social media, and we need to take that away. It's like I tell people, say, well, I don't know how to get my Facebook. I say, well, you know what? They need to put a charge on Facebook. Kid ain't got a credit card, and if he gets a credit card to get on, it's a parent's fault that he's there.
I think they'll lose money if they do.
Yeah, and the bad part about it is that it's got to that point, man, that we're not fixing the problem. Mm-hmm. And I've seen some of these kids, and they get bullied on social media. They post something, and then they're just attacking them, and they're going after these young girls. And I had a young girl on my team one day, and she called me and she was crying because she had posted something on Snapchat, and I really don't know. I'm up to date with all this social
Yeah, what
media
is
stuff.
Snapchat?
I have no idea. I'm like, and so she tells me, and I look there and I go, look, you're not at the right mindset to be even having that. I said, due to the fact that you get your feelings hurt too quick, and there's too many mean people out there. I said, you're freaking 13 years old. You don't need that.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. I told the mother too, get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Don't let her be on that stuff. Because if you're a sensitive person, you're gonna get hurt. And then next thing you know, they're suicidal, they're trauma. I mean, it's just too much. It's just way too much.
Wow. Real quick, as we continue, want to say a shout out to Jaime Palacios is watching. Henry Cabrera is watching also, Mike. Ricardo Cush, all the way from Curitiba, Brazil, is watching. I think your wife's watching. Erica Clark
Yeah, that's her.
is watching. Ayana Orona is watching.
Yeah, she's
We've had
also
her on the show before.
Yeah, she also got a couple bouts. She's tough.
She's a tough
yeah.
fighter. I saw her belt. She came in with her belt. It's awesome, man.
And the thing is, you know what? Like Ariana,
The pride of Las Cruces.
Amy
And
Solinas.
we're gonna hopefully we'll have her on the show.
What the thing is these females, they're big in Las Cruces, and they play a very important role. Because I brought Mariana, I Carrasco, I brought her in. I brought Ariana.
Carrasco was on the show
Amy,
too.
Yeah, and I bring them in, and I have them talk to my female fighters. I try to
Awesome!
get them there.
What a way to show those. I mean, yeah, they're athletes, but also they're leaders. When you do that to them, they teaches them.
Yeah, see, and what we're gonna do at our new gym, because we got a new gym, a new building, it's about 5,000 square feet. I'm gonna dedicate one wall to all my female fighters. Ariana.
Awesome.
Carrasco, Amy Salinas.
Awesome.
I'm gonna put a wall, and this is gonna be for all the female fighters in Las Cruces
And
who put their names.
not
out
only
there.
that, it recruits young females into the sport.
You know what? And right now, like I was telling you, we got about 11 females, and I still got parents calling me. All week we've been getting parents wanting to bring their kids out to us.
Yana Orona says, "Hey, Big Mike, one of the biggest-hearted coaches I know, does everything for his team."
Thank you.
Laura Nieto says, "That's my bro."
Yeah,
And
see what I do in Las Cruces. I run a gym in Las Cruces called State Pit Fitness. She's my supervisor of all my instructors. Plus, she's
that where
like
you
my
wo-
sister. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Wow.
She like my sister too.
So you lift weights,
yeah,
as you
I
can
lift
see.
weights,
Yeah.
I lift weights, and I run the business, and we also have a boxing room there, and we have like Melissa Lindon. She does a boxing cardio there. She's been part of the boxing community for a long time.
Wow, man. Also, Jaime Palacios says, "Thanks for your service, Mike. I salute you." Eduardo Castillo just got on, and Cindy Aceves just got on. Ayana just said, "You let me know what you need to help you with the new gym, and I'll be glad to help."
Oh yeah, I know we can reach out to any of them. They're all good people.
Good. We're moving right along, and we'll get back to more of the questions. Let's get into the pro aspects of it, and going what's making the news in the boxing community right now in the pro. And before the year ended, we saw Gamboa win 10 rounds. I mean, Gamboa win 10 to complete Achilles tear, but Tank KOs Gamboa in 12 for the WBA lightweight title in a clash for the vacant WBA lightweight belt. Rated number one, Tank Davis, and he pretty much put Gamboa on the ground. But Yoroki Gamboa sustained an injury in the second round. He tore his Achilles, guys, right? And again, he fought like a warrior, and everybody talks about, man, this guy was a warrior, and they compared him to Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. when he quit in the corner, said he broke his nose. What do you think about that, Mike?
I will never watch a Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight again. Guy,
It's because of his last fight?
it's period. He's just writing off his dad's name. There's a lot better fighters than him out there who can't get the same fights that he does, because everybody knows Senior was freaking awesome. He was a warrior. He was good.
Yeah, he was very good.
And he just writes off his father's name, and he he hasn't shown anything. I haven't seen nothing out of that guy in the whole career. It's just like, they show up, he writes off his dad's name, he draws in a ticket, but he just gives up. The guy has no self-pride. He has
No
no
heart.
self-pride. No pride in his name or whatever. I think he's just out there basically for that paycheck.
I mean, if you saw that fight, Gamboa complained about a problem with his shoe, and everybody thought he had a problem with his equipment problem, right? What do? Take his shoe off? His mobility, of course, was impaired, folks. If you saw that fight, Davis landed some big shots. Davis is a very big fighter. They went toe-to-toe in the final round, and Davis dropped Gamboa again to end it. The time was 1 minute and 17 seconds. I bring that up, guys, to end the year because it was just an outstanding fight. But you know what? Outstanding on Gamboa's side because he showed a lot of heart.
That's most definitely.
Jesus Christ, he was up there fighting a tank.
Well, you got to remember, you see these guys who go out there and they fight and give it all they got, but you got to remember, they're professionals. This is their job. This is their life. This is what they train for.
Exactly.
You see pro fighters go out there and they break their hand. You see pro fighters go out there and get a broken nose. You see pro fighters, they tear a muscle, but they'll finish the fight. They don't give up.
And he didn't give up.
And no, and that's exactly.
It was good.
But that's his job and that's his career. You know, that's what he does for a living.
Yeah. Moving right along, Jaime Munguia. You like Munguia?
Yeah, I like Munguia. He's tough. He is tough.
He's an upcoming middleweight, huh?
Oh my God, that guy! He's very good. I was impressed with him. The guy's sharp.
Well, he was a junior middleweight. Now he's campaigning at middleweight. He's the former WBO junior middleweight. Again, he scored an 11th round KO against the all hard. I'm not gonna say legendary, but the old trusty steed, Gary Spike O'Sullivan, which was 30. He's 30-4 now. He's 30-5. It was last Saturday at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. Munguia rocked Sullivan in round 1. It was a very good fight. And again, you can tell Munguia was good at that weight. He's gonna be good at that weight. Jaime Munguia spoke about his successful 160-pound debut. This is a new division for me, he said. I felt stronger and with more conditioning. I just needed to adjust my speed to fully be comfortable. As you know, Munguia now is being trained by Eric Morales. Munguia has not looked good in the past. Maybe with his new trainer, he's looking a little bit better and fight the likes of maybe Jermall Charlo, Canelo, Golovkin. Who knows? The Charlo brother against Munguia will be a good fight. Me personally, I think Munguia needs a little bit more tune-up fights before he gets against the Charlo brothers, right?
Yeah, you know, the Charlo brothers are tough. Those guys are just tough fighters. But, you know, I'll tell you what, I was really impressed with Sullivan.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
He was tough. The guy was tough. He survived the first round. And he rocked when he got him one time. And he hurt him. But didn't finish it. But I think the age caught up to him a little bit. He's a little bit older. Mm-hmm. You know, he got a young little bull going after him. But the Charlo brothers, like you said, I think he's going to have to pick it up a little bit more. He's going to have to get more underneath his belt because those are some tough fighters in that weight class.
Very tough fighters in that weight, the middleweight division.
Yes, that's a powerhouse division right there. There's so much talent there. The only bad thing about it, we're never going to know who's the best because there's just so many belts out there.
And not just that, Mike. We might not even know who is the best because there's so many now. The networks have gotten a hand of these fighters, and networks don't fight against networks. Or if the fighter fights for DAZN, both of them, they might not fight. I mean, DAZN has been a savior for boxing, but we might not see those fights. Also, not only the networks, but the promoters are in hand too, or they want to make the fights, or it's to the best interest of the promoter. And sometimes they leave the fan like us at the end of the totem pole, right?
See, it's like my father used to tell me back in the day, belts now are like Christmas ornaments. You got them all over the place in the tree.
Yeah, there's too many of them.
And he goes, everybody's got a shiny belt now. And he goes, everybody's got a shiny belt.
Everybody.
There's
a belt for everything.
Yeah, exactly.
The silver belt, interim,
platinum, and
the platinum,
and a second. Man, it's, you know what? You're not gonna know who the true champions are. Because you got HBO, Showtime, everybody has their own champions.
Yeah.
And then you won't fight each other. Exactly. And the thing is because they don't want to jump, or then it's not out of the promoter's hands, it's out of the networks trying to negotiate the deals.
Exactly.
So we need to it needs to be governed. It needs to be where there's just one champion.
It's not going to happen, Mike.
Because you notice that you can't get a top. There's nobody. We're letting too many of these champions. They select their fights now. Mm-hmm. They're just picking. They're picking and picking and picking. You know, I saw Canelo when he just fought his last fight against that light, and I was like,
against Sergey Kovalev.
Yeah. And I was like, man, you know what? There's tougher guys out there. There's some tough guys in that division, and that guy was big, and he just held back. That big guy just held back, and he wasn't throwing punches because he was more. I think he gave too much respect to Canelo instead of having respect for himself. That he was tough enough to handle it.
I mean, and he admitted it that, you know what, he was just there to get paid. And that lost a lot of respect for him. But you talk about Canelo, maybe Canelo, they want to take care of him more, but I think he's going to go down in weight. And he's not going to stay at that weight. He's going to vacate that belt.
Too many good fighters in that. I mean, too big. I think he needs to stay down where he is. I think there's still too many good fighters at that lower belt where he's at.
Well, I mean, Canelo now is probably we're probably looking at a May Cinco de Mayo clash against Billy Joe Saunders. Saunders also has always called out Canelo. He didn't look good on his last outing, so who knows? Maybe that's the fight that we don't want to see. I don't know.
It's sometimes, it's a fighter you fight. You can fight somebody who's just an ugly fighter and make you look bad too. Because I'll tell you what, I've seen some guys go out there and they're just tough.
Very
just
tough.
And they're not noticed. They just tough guys.
So Mike, what are we going to see in 2020, man? We got some bold predictions here out of several sources that we researched. One of the one that makes the headlines is would Floyd Mayweather return in 2020? Oh, let me say, will he unretire? He will turn 42 in February. Will exit a nearly 3-year retirement and fight once again as part of the promotional partnership, which I don't agree with UFC's Dana White, who will use the event to serve as his entrance into boxing promotions that Dana's always wanted to come into. Mayweather will either opt for a rematch with Manny Pacquiao or face up to UFC star in boxing match to add another 9-figure payday. This is under the ESPN source Dan Rafael. Mayweather-Pacquiao 2 will open up in Allegiant Stadium. Yes, I do believe this rematch will happen in 2020. Now, let me stop that news right there because there was an article in today's El Paso Times, and this was under the journalist or the awesome columnist Matthew Aguilar. He's our boxing columnist for El Paso. He's writing in Chicago, I believe, out of Ringtones. And he's awesome. Matthew, a big shout out to you. And fighter of the decade, 10-year span, goes all the way, right? And guess who it was? Floyd Mayweather is the fighter of the decade. In the 2010s, he fought 10 fights. 3 of them being mega fights, mega payday fights. Mayweather has fought everybody. Floyd Mayweather didn't fight much in the 2020s, in fact, save for a glorified exhibition. He was retired for much of the second half of the decade, but like Leonard, Mayweather's victories during the 10 years had a historical significance that no other fighter came close to matching, making him fighter of the decade. What do you think of that, Mike?
You know what? I liked Mayweather. He was, I liked him a lot. I've always thought he was a great fighter. But when I saw him fight that O'Connor fight, I told myself I'd never buy another Mayweather fight again. Reason being, it looked like
it's
wrestling.
A show.
It looked like WWE wrestling. It was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
And I thought right there, I don't know why he would take a fight like that, and he made the sport look bad. Mayweather and O'Connor. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was embarrassing. I was so disappointed with that fight. I was even more disappointed when I had to pay for it.
Well, I mean, and I say he fought in 20. That was a correction. He didn't fight 10 times in 2010s, but Mayweather didn't fight much in the 2010s. I'm going to make that correction. I'm sorry. But you know what, Mike? What mattered was the quality of the victories, don't you think? When he fought in that decade, I mean, or he didn't fight that much, but even in the past, he's fought the likes of everybody.
Yeah, he's fought. I mean, he's
and now
everybody top dog.
And now it's all a money thing, right?
That's what it's all become now. It's not even a. I mean, it's like we're talking, like I just said a while ago, I think too many of these guys are choosing and picking too many of their fights. They're overpassing these top fighters. If you got a guy who's ranked number 1 in the bout area, they can go down and pick number 9 and 10.
Well, yeah, you're right. And so we'll see. I mean, I think he'll come back this year in a UFC fight. And again, I'm not a big fan. I'll probably watch just to be because I'm there, and to report it. But I mean, I'm not. I like Mayweather, and I've always liked him. But to come back and fight UFC and just to strengthen both of them, I'm not a big fan. I remember the Canelo Sergey Kovalev fight. They waited almost 45 minutes to get on the ring because they wanted a UFC fight to finish. And not bashing UFC or the MMA sport. We've had some great guests here about that. But as a true diehard boxing fan, yeah, I'm like you. I wouldn't want to see Mayweather fight anybody again in UFC. Yeah, and if he unretires, maybe a Pacquiao 2 fight. What do you think?
You know what? I wouldn't mind seeing Pacquiao. Because if I was to watch it, it wouldn't be for Mayweather. I'd watch it because I like Pacquiao.
Man, I like Pacquiao too.
I think the guy's. I mean, he's older. He's tough. He still got it.
Jesus.
He's and you know what? That's something about him. I think the guy's very humble and he carries himself very well. Pacquiao.
And you talk about Pacquiao. So yeah, I would like to see it. But that's another big bold prediction in 2020. The 41-year-old Manny Pacquiao will add to his legendary career by following his big win over Keith Thurman in July with another big win, and he gets, you know what? I believe he's going to fight Danny Garcia. So, folks, we might see Manny Pacquiao again in 2020 on a Danny Garcia fight. That'll be an interesting fight, but I think Pacquiao will beat him.
I think he has too much knowledge. I like Danny too. Don't get me wrong. I think Danny Garcia is a tough guy, but it's just like Thurman. They said he was going to walk. Oh man, he's going to tear up Pacquiao. And now I was telling everybody, you know, Pacquiao's just too smart. Guy comes in with a game plan.
Yeah,
he's game plan.
He's game plan,
and that's what I think. He comes in there. He's knowledgeable. He's knowledgeable. Danny Garcia. It depends on his dad brings him in.
So, you know what? Let me go back to Mayweather. So you don't think he's the fighter of the decade?
Nah,
decade, 10 years.
Not in mine.
Tell me who it was.
In
Crosstown's world.
In mine, I'd say either it's going to be Pacquiao. I like
Manny
Pacquiao.
Yeah.
I think Pacquiao, because he's fought a lot of tough fights. And Pacquiao don't turn away from anybody. So my choice would be Manny Pacquiao.
Manny Pacquiao. Rounding out the other choices, other fighters that had great decades, according to Matthew Aguilar, was Andre Ward. That we're going to talk about him right now. Andre Ward, he was a close second under him. Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, Canelo Alvarez, and Manny Pacquiao. Remember, two of those fighters Money beat. Mayweather beat,
yeah.
And the others just didn't have that impact, according to Matthew Aguilar. So thanks for that, Matthew. And then Matthew also said, well, let's talk about fight of the decade. And he put fight of the decade, which I agree with him, was Timothy Bradley against Ruslan Provodnikov. You remember that fight?
Yes.
That was a fight to remember.
Fight. That was a good fight.
Joel Diaz would tell Timothy Bradley, do not stay in front of him. And Bradley just stood in front of him and he almost got killed.
You know what, Bradley, I really like Bradley a lot. I see him when he commentaries the fight. And the one thing I liked about Bradley, you know, he doesn't hold nothing back. One day he said on the fights, when the fighter came in overweight, he goes, that's embarrassing. He should have never been like that. He goes, he's a pro fighter. That's your job. It's like you being a plumber and not going with tools.
Yeah, you're right.
He goes, you're in the gym. That's what you do. You train for that fight because you never know when that phone call is going to come in.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and Timothy Bradley, you know, he was always coming into the ring in shape.
That guy, I mean, he impressed me against Pacquiao. He was just tough. I liked him when he fought that Russian. Oh my God,
that was a good fight. I can watch it all the time.
And I like it when he says, "Man, half the fight I don't even remember."
Yeah, the kitchen sink and the kitchen was thrown at him from the get go.
Yeah,
and you know, talking about Ruslan Provodnikov, and that's why he didn't last. He was just he was just a punching bag, and we wanted to see stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was fight of the decade. I guess we agree with it.
Yeah, that's
round of the decade. I guess we all know which one. Andy Reese. Anthony Joshua was round number 3.
Yeah, I like that.
Of the part 1,
the
first fight.
Yeah, that surprised the heck
out of me. It surprised everybody.
It surprised.
And I think 90% of Hispanics were going for Joshua because they didn't know who the hell Reese was. But now, if you tell them, "Oh no, I was with Reese," now you're jumping on the bandwagon. Part 2, I didn't like the fight. It was just a I don't know.
I don't know why they do. It was ridiculous. First place is that Joshua said that he'd fight him back in the United States. Well, I'll have my rematch here. I'll do it here right in front of all the Americans. And then next thing you know, it's in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. All money, buddy.
And I'm like,
Eddie Hearn.
Really? Come on now. This is the boxing world right here in the States. This is the boxing world.
Yeah, you should stay here, man.
Yeah, why are you going to take it overseas to somewhere where nobody really goes?
We were lobbying for the Sun Bowl or NMSU.
Here you go.
Upset of the decade to rounding off was Andy Reese, Joshua TKO in the 7th round. Comeback of the decade was Manny Pacquiao. I agree with that as well, as he came back and annihilated Keith Thurman after talking all that shit. Knockout of the decade, I also agree with. We saw a big knockout, Juan Manuel Marquez knocking down Manny Pacquiao in the 6th round. So,
that was.
It's a great article in the El Paso Times, folks. If you have a copy of it, read what Matthew has to say. And the columnist Matthew Aguilar, the boxing expert for El Paso Times, pretty much gets it right all the time. He also has predictions there for this weekend's fight on Fox and on ESPN. So thank you for that, Matthew. I appreciate it. Continuing in the podcast itinerary, we talked about Deontay Wilder and a bold prediction, right, of Deontay Wilder although the deal between heavyweight titleist Wilder and lineal champion Fury calls for 2 more bouts against each other, beginning with the rematch on February 22nd. I don't think a third fight will not happen in 2020 as they go their separate ways, and I don't think I would want to see a third fight. Whoever wins, I think both of them will go their separate ways. Either Fury, lose or win, probably will get Luis Ortiz to fight. I don't know. Do you like the heavyweight fight? You like the heavyweight spectrum right now or platform?
I guess I'm not much into the heavyweights. I'm not impressed with a lot of them. I mean, Wilder's all right, but I think there's just too many selecting going on. I think Joshua's running from Wilder. You're not going to know who a true champion is until they both fight. Fury, he impressed me last time we fought against Wilder, but they're not fighting anybody. They're just fighting each other. Same people they're fighting over and over and over. And there's a lot of prospects out there. There's a lot of young guys who need that test also.
And you know what? Wilder is the face of heavyweight right now, but I'm not a big fan of Wilder. Hold on. I'm a fan of Wilder because it's exciting to watch, but he has no technique. He's just a wild.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of lower heavyweights who I think are upcoming, who are just ain't getting the big chances, getting the big opportunities. I think there's a lot of them out there. And don't get me wrong, I like seeing Wilder. He does have a punch. You know, like when he knocked out that Cuban not too long ago, he just caught him.
Luis Ortiz.
Oh my God, he caught Ortiz sick. And
that was knockout of the year, I think, in our book here.
Yeah, he just dropped him. But I guess I ain't gonna know it's gonna be a true champion until I see Wilder fight Ruiz or Joshua. I think he should be fighting Ruiz. Let him fight Ruiz. Ruiz dropped Joshua the first time. Let's see if he can do something over here with another fighter.
Fury. Wow.
Any one of them.
Still keep going on the headlines. Dan Rafa from ESPN says that we will see another third fight of Canelo Alvarez and Triple G. He says it's going to finally happen. Again, it's going to be on DAZN. They're both signed with DAZN. And of course, DAZN has actually invested over $500 million in exclusive contracts to both these fighters. Alvarez, however, will change his tune and be willing to fight toe-to-toe. Who knows? But he won't be back to middleweight. Instead, he will insist fighting Golovkin at the super middleweight division, where Alvarez is also a belt. Golovkin, who's tested the waters at 164 in his June knockout of Steve Rolls, will be happily accept the fight. Triple G, is he a has-been, Mike? Is he still on the platform as elite? What do you think?
I mean, I've watched both fights, and I know everybody was throwing the judgment up of saying, well, Canelo lost this one, and I thought Canelo won both of them.
Wow.
Not that I'm just a fan of
Holy
his.
smokes.
I like Canelo. I thought he was sharp. I thought he landed more bigger punches. I thought...
Even in the first fight?
Yes. That was my opinion. I was glad he won it, but honestly, I wouldn't put a bet on that first fight. I wouldn't even put a bet on the second one because, I mean, they're just... You never know what's going to happen with them two.
Well, you're right. I mean, I think the first one Canelo lost. That's my opinion. So they're 1-1, and I wouldn't mind seeing the third fight. I think we will watch it. I think it'll be a good exit fight for Triple G. For me, Mike, I think Triple G has been hit too much already, and I think it's time to exit as a victorious, and he'll beat Canelo. That's my bold prediction.
You think he'll beat him? I don't know. I think Canelo's just too young and too strong.
Well, moving right along, Vasily Lomachenko. How about that guy? That guy is pretty awesome, man.
He's a beast.
He will beat Lopez. He's going to fight Teofimo Lopez. Lopez might produce a score or two if he fights Lomachenko in what could be a memorable fight. The Ukrainian should be too slippery and skillful to avoid an upset. Lomachenko's friend, which is Usyk, that's another guy. Alexander Usyk wants to fight Canelo, or maybe go to the heavyweight and fight Wilder. However, it's good bet to appoint Anthony Joshua for a world heavyweight title should they meet late in 2020, right? But how about Vasily Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez? Lopez is good.
Lopez is good. I think Lomachenko can beat him, but Lopez can surprise you. If he catches you, he's going to catch you, and he might light him up. But Lopez is gonna have to rely on power and to catch him because that Lomachenko, he's quick, he's all over the place, and he's got good angles.
He's a good angle.
God, man,
yeah, he's good.
He's got a good pivot on that front foot, and he don't take off. He stays right there, and it's hard to hit that guy.
Exactly. You know what? And I know people we want to get back to your world, Mike, because I'm ending up with the boxing headlines, and we have a few, but this will be my last one. Jennifer Hahn to fight a non-title fight first, and then maybe a title fight all in the same year. Jennifer Hahn, the IBF featherweight champion, will face Jerry Sue Stites out of Missouri, trained out of Colorado, in a non-title fight February the 15th at the El Paso County Coliseum. Jen has been out, but looks pretty good in her comeback fight as you see her train here in several gyms in El Paso. People will go see Jennifer Hahn. What do you think of Jennifer Hahn fighting the non-title fight? And you know what? Jerry Stites, or Sue, apologies if I'm not pronouncing it right, is a tough MMA fighter / boxer. And might present problems for Jennifer Hahn. She's tough. And you know what? I say this, Mike, because you know what, man? Jennifer Hahn has taken some tough fights, and you know what? Giving her credit, that is a tough fight for her to come just back on a tuna fight because she just had a kid.
Yeah, congratulations to you, Jennifer, on your baby. I'm happy for you. Jennifer Hahn, she's tough. She is
a tough fighter.
She's not a quitter. She's
not a
quitter.
Oh,
That's
my
one thing
God.
about it. She'll go get you. And the last time when I saw her fight her pro fight, she took some heavy hits, but she was still coming back and giving some back.
Yeah.
So, to see her go against with a non-title fight, yeah, I think she might need to do a tune-up.
Well, and it was done because they had to ask permission to the IBF.
Yeah.
Because this just should have been the belt fight. But again, look, man, she just had a baby, and she went through a lot. Of course, like all women, when they have babies, you go through a lot of transformation, and then she's going to get up on the ring and get hit. And what I'm trying to say, and she didn't select, or the promoters didn't select a pushover. This girl's coming to fight hard. We were seeing some video on her last night, and she's coming to fight. And it's going to be an exciting fight, folks. Go out to the Coliseum. Let's support this world champion, Jennifer Hahn, that has impacted so many little girls or girls in the boxing community, like what you're trying to do, Mike, with your team.
Yeah, that's right now. I think the female fighters have just up and come, man. They're overcoming everything. I like watching them myself.
Yeah, they're tough, man.
Well, when I threw that in July when I threw my Southern New Mexico first throwdown with Crosstown through. We had 31 fights. 8 of them were female fights. I had 8 female fights, and everybody was coming and saying, "God, man, that's the most female fights we've seen on a card." I had girls from Colorado down here. I had Hobbs down here. I had El Paso there with their girls. I had Audie, Josh the Boss, the little national ranks. So I had a lot of girls. I had a couple of my girls fight. So it's I think it's changing, but you know what I like about girls is their real critique. You show them something and they try to perfect it. And, you know,
You're right.
Boys, you just throw them out there and they're just throwing punches. You try to throw a hook, they'll try to make it to the way they want to. You show a girl how to throw a hook or right hand, they try to set it up the way you're showing them, and they'll sit there and go to the side and they practice and practice and practice. When the young guys will just go in there and do it a couple times and they're okay, I'm good at it.
Yeah, they're heavy hitters, man. So going out there and inviting everybody to go see, again, like I said, Fighting for Legacy, February the 15th at the El Paso County Coliseum. Tickets available at the Coliseum box office or also at the Hans Oriental Martial Arts, or call 533-9899. Jennifer Hahn versus Jerry Stites at the El Paso County Coliseum. Sponsors for this event, and it's going to be Golden Eagle Promotions with co-promoting Warriors Edge Boxing Gym Promotions, also with Estrella Jalisco Beer and Western Tech, going on their 50th anniversary, and it'll be at the El Paso County Coliseum. So go out there and see Jennifer Hahn. Folks, we are live here with Mike Clark from Crosstown Boxing. Cody says, super proud of you and your boxing team, Dad. We love you and support you. Crosstown Boxing rules. So Cody's your son, I'm imagining.
Yeah, he's my son.
Sonny Chavez says, correct, 100%. Malo Fight Gear says, yes, good stuff, guys. And also Leo Diaz is Crosstown Boxing, 100%. We're waving back at Leo Diaz. So welcome, everybody, for tuning in. Mike, it's obvious that you are built for the development of young athletes and have been very successful. What has been your secret to lead these young athletes into boxing and pretty much have them walk the straight line. And you mentioned you had meetings with them. So is there anything else to your secret recipe?
What we do is every time I get a new kid in, when I talk to the parents first, and they get a rundown, usually of what kind of background they're coming from. A lot of them can be troubled. So the first 30 minutes of me meeting them, I pull them into the office and we sit down and we talk. And I like to try to get a feeling of what they're going through and what's happening in their life. And some will just want to do it for the sport. Some of them feel like they're getting bullied, or some of them just want somewhere to belong, you know. So, and that's my thing is, so we bring them in, you hear them, and you talk to them, and then and then usually what I hear from them, then I'll sit down and talk to the parent too, and say, look, okay, what's going on? We're trying to change some stuff here. Let's get it together. But I let all my kids know, you're law enforcement, and it's like I tell them, it's so easy to get in trouble. So easy to get in trouble. Hard work is staying out of trouble. That's the hardest.
That's the hard work, right?
Yeah, that's the hardest thing to do. We do grade checks. We do report card checks. We make sure how they're doing in school. If I have a kid, somebody gets in trouble at school, and I try to go over there, or I try to help the parents with it. I've already sent a few meetings with superintendents and some of my kids. I've gone to a few IEP meetings with some of my kids for the education.
So that's the key, going to those schools, right?
It's just showing them, because you got to realize there's a lot of kids who don't have a father there either. Or you got kids who have fathers who are incarcerated.
Yeah.
I got some kids matter of fact, I got foster kids there.
Wow.
And I've got young females who've been molested. It's just, there's so much, it's heartbreaking. You sit there and you hear some of these stories and you're going, wow, okay, how am I going to adjust to this? How can I get this person to that next level?
Yeah.
And make them understand. But what made me really happy is one day when I went with one of the, I went to a school and it was with one of my female fighters, and she told the superintendent, told the principal, she goes, you know what? The only place I feel comfortable is at boxing. Because I see kids who are just like me. They have the same problems I do. And we're all friends there.
It's a safe environment for them.
Yeah, and then I started and now I have like 3 kids around school where the school sent them to me. I have a counseling group out of Las Cruces who was calling me and asking me if they could start sending kids to our program.
Wow.
They said, we've heard a lot about you. We heard a lot what's going on, what you guys do for the kids. And I have a juvenile probation. They called me too.
So let me ask you, do you think you have all these avenues or these resources because you were law enforcement? Are other gyms in Las Cruces doing the same thing?
No.
Or it's because you have those contacts?
No, you know what? I really don't use any of my contacts. I mean, like I said, I already started doing this back in 2013.
So you're fairly new to the game.
Yeah. It wasn't. I coached football for a lot of years, and I coached baseball. I coached junior wrestling. But now, what the thing is that these kids, when I went into boxing and we started off with a little gym. When one I just left was small. When I got this bigger
But
building,
it worked.
Yeah, it was doing it, but we overpacked it.
Okay.
Because I started jumping to the 40s, and I was like, man, I got no room for these kids. So we God blessed us, and we found another gym. This man worked with us, and it's about 5,000 square feet, but we had to tear out a paint booth, and we've been cleaning it up, painting walls.
I've seen that.
I got one of my buddies is over there painting today, Ray Solis. I have another gentleman by the name of Dede. He's doing the fabrication.
Hard labor.
Oh yeah, these guys are. I reached out, and there's people just donating. I have paint donated. I have a pasture they're building. We have a room with a loft. But we're going to make the room bigger so we can put 16 beds up there for anybody who comes down to fight in Las Cruces. They got somewhere to stay.
What a great idea, man.
And so we're trying to incorporate more. We have and people come to us. We have Christmas dinners. We have Thanksgiving dinners. We get the kids together, just barbecues. We get them all together.
Great, man.
And we
create that family environment that, you said something important, belonging. They belong somewhere. And yeah, when you teach a kid that's at risk or whatever the case may be, or not even at risk, if you bring that belongingness, that they belong somewhere, they will stay and really be loyal to you, right?
Yeah, you know what? I get up, I go to work, I get off, I go home, I pick up the boxing van and I take off on one side of town and I start picking up all my kids. By the time I get to boxing, I have about 16
So
kids in the van.
you say you had a van. You had a van donated, right?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, I have a really good friend. His name's Erasmo Campos. He has Erasmo's Roofing. And he's a fan of boxing. And when I first started this, he was like, man, he was really interested. And he saw that I was taking 2 cars to all these fights because I would always take about 12 fighters. I drive a car, my wife would drive a car, get a parent, we'd all convoy up there. And he goes, one day I started looking for a van. I said, I'm going to buy one. And I found these, they were selling me one for about $2,500. The people gave me a good deal. And I said, wow, I told Erasmo about it. He goes, all right, yeah. And so I said, I'm going to go talk to him. And when I went over there, the guy gives me the keys. He goes, hey, that guy already paid for it. He bought it for you. What? Yeah, he bought you guys a van.
Wow.
And then where the body shop where we used to train, because we had a semi body shop, boxing gym, granite rock outside. It was
one of those.
So one day my van, I come back the next day, and a week later, because the guy was going to do some work for me, they painted it black. They put the stickers on it, Crosstown Boxing. They
That
did
is
everything
so
for
cool,
us.
man.
They just did it for us. So, and then we it sounds like a race car, so everybody hears us when we go to the fights.
That's so awesome, man. We'll be looking out to that van, Mike.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, definitely. Everybody, like when we go to Roswell, they know when we're driving.
So a shout out to your friend, man,
Yeah.
from the what's the roofing company called?
Erasmo's Roofing.
All right.
Yeah, he's great, man. Him and his wife helped us out a lot. They're big supporters.
That's great, man.
He would always buy my kids' hoodies, shirts, whatever.
What a great
always
story,
does.
man. There's a lot of people out there
Yeah.
that are willing to help, man. You just got to ask, man. Great job. So you mentioned about all these counseling services and stuff. Do you think the city of Las Cruces has done enough for boxing, both amateur, not just for you, and pro?
No.
Why do you say?
I don't. You know what? The thing is they forgot about it. It's in general. There's nothing in Las Cruces for kids. There's nothing. There's really nothing out there. Everything costs so much money. You got baseball, costs a lot of money because everybody's competitive now.
So let me ask you. I know Las Cruces hosts baseball tournaments and people from on. How come Las Cruces? And I'm talking El Paso too, but Las Cruces does not have a title boxing tournament, a 3-day tournament, 3-ring tournament. Why don't we see huge tournaments like that in our area?
I
Think it's the city?
No, I don't think it's a city. It's also because it's also governed by these LBCs. Silver Gloves has a director. Golden Gloves has a director. Matter of fact, I talked to the director of the Silver Gloves this year. He contacted me because I always held up in Albuquerque. And we discussed it, and he was telling me, he felt that how come it was shrinking, the Silver Gloves, and I explained it to him, exactly what I told you. It's hard for us to go all the way to Albuquerque and go fight and move to the next level because we already spent all our funds.
Yeah.
And then we have to try to come back and raise that much money for January. I said, it's after Christmas, everything. It doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
I said, I'd
you're
rather
right.
just go fight up in El Paso, and where it don't cost me that much to take my kids.
Yeah.
See, like I was telling you, in 2018, the Silver Gloves, I had first day I had 8 fighters. Second day I had 9 fights. Out of 15 fights each day. So I took all my fighters, and that's what everybody Albuquerque knows. I take fighters. I don't leave nobody behind. If they want to go fight, they're going to go fight. Mm-hmm. And so we discussed it. So we're hoping that we're going to probably move the Silver Gloves down in Las Cruces this year.
Wow.
We're gonna try and host it down here. We talked about it, and that's why, because he asked me what I made at my event, and I said, and I told him. He was surprised. He goes, well, "How'd you do that?" I said, "Because I gave money. I didn't just pocket money.
You give money.
I gave money. I gave money to Colorado to come down. I gave money to Hobbs."
So how hard is it for you not to have the LBC board of directors here? Like El Paso will have the president here, they're local, but in Las Cruces, everybody's in Albuquerque, right?
Yeah, everybody.
How hard is that?
It's
hard.
It is hard. It is hard. It's very hard. It's very hard.
Like if you need a boxing book, who do you go to? You got to call Albuquerque.
Yeah, you know what? You have to send out for the information. This year was a little bit easier. We got a new person with books, so she sent me some. But usually I would always have to come to El Paso, because I know the president and vice president and good people.
We got it good here.
Oh man, they're good.
We got it good here.
I have no problem with these guys. They're
We got
really
it good.
guys, man. And they've always helped me because when my event, I had a lot of kids who didn't have books. And the problem was before that we'd send all this information to Albuquerque and they were supposed to send us books, and I would send out and never get nothing back.
And let me tell you, Mike, just when you said that, even here, that's not the way you do it. you got to send for books. But these guys from El Paso,
Yeah.
they'll come to my gym and give me books. They're all amazing. So sometimes, I mean, we don't know what we have until we lose it. Like I'm assuming in Las Cruces, it's hard for you guys because everything's in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
You're 4 hours away, 5 hours. Here we are a block away.
Yeah, see, and it's not only my problem because I talked to Bully, Bully Boxing out of Roswell.
Yeah.
They're like my sister club right there. We're really close with
Cool.
Tasha and her husband.
All right,
and
yeah.
they run a really good program up there in Roswell. Good people, and I mean Tasha's and her husband are awesome. They do the same thing we do, and she does a lot of mentoring too. She brings kids in. They have a building, and I mean, she one time tells me, Mike, I'm gonna bring so many fighters down. She said, I got that from you. I just take kids down there and we'll fight them. Mm-hmm. So when she comes down, I'll match up everybody. Or they bring kids down here to spar in Las Cruces.
Cool, man.
Or we go up there, and if we go up there to go for a fight with hers, we go the day before. She lets us use our gym to go train and get ready. But they're really good people, and that's what I like, and we communicate real well with them. And she says the same thing. The bad thing about it is that everything's in Albuquerque. What we need is somebody. We don't have to be on the board, but we just need somebody to
represent.
like
represent
Southern.
But
Yes.
there was a guy here from Las Cruces running for president, huh?
No, that was I guess Sanchez.
Javier? Was it?
Yeah, Javier.
And he didn't make it. And he's from
No.
Las Cruces
Yeah.
or El Paso?
No, it's from
I'm
Las
sorry,
Cruces.
Las Cruces,
Yeah.
right? And he didn't make it. I remember talking to him. So yeah, Silver Gloves is coming down, and we would want more support. Well, Mike, you got our support.
I hope so.
Also, do you, if you had the power to make one change to your LBC, what would it be? And the same with USA Boxing. What needs changing?
They forgot that boxing is a poor man's sport.
Okay.
Okay, that's the problem. They forget it's a poor man's sport. These are individual kids. A lot of them come down from low income. I don't have no kids on my team who come from a wealthy family, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of teams here don't either.
Nope, we don't.
It's a poor man's sport, and the fees are ridiculous. They've gone up. We're paying $85 per registration per child.
So the New Mexico, and I'm going to bring this up, so make the differences. The New Mexico kid or athlete registration is how much?
$85.
Here in Texas, it's $75. So there's a $10 difference that you say, why is it different? Where does the money go to? Continue, Mike, and then your club registration.
My club registration, I have to pay to sanction my team, is because you have to sanction your team before you throw a sanctioned event.
Of course, but what if you don't throw a sanctioned event? How much is the registration for your gym?
$255.
$250. Here is $180, I believe. $180. Wow, it's like big differences.
Yeah, it is.
And we all report, folks, to the same sanctioning, I guess, the same corporation, organization, USA Boxing in Colorado. Mike, do you think that maybe we need another one to compete with USA Boxing? Or why is USA Boxing is the mothership, and that's what holds us down to making more progress, because we got to answer to them. We go by the rules. We have to say whatever they say. What if there was another saying the Boxing International Organization, and we had to? Would that be maybe awesome, huh?
Yeah, well, heck, you have it in belts. Everybody
it's
has
like
one.
it's like the MMA world, the UFC
Yes.
world. They have so many tournaments because there's so many organizations.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's even making it hard on us coaches. It's hard for me to find coaches because now coach is over there paying $105, and after he does background check and does say sport, everything, you're paying $150
Easy.
a year.
Yeah.
And that's expensive, especially for us.
Well,
We give up so much time with our families to be there for the community.
right.
I mean, I don't have one or two fighters. I have 50 kids.
Yeah.
I deal with every day.
Yeah.
I deal with the problems. I give them rights, whatever. It's all part of the. They're forgetting that it's about the kids. It's not about making lots and lots of money.
But you also got to remember on the flip side of the coin that the USA Boxing has to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
You mentioned the coaches, non-athlete is $115 to include. That includes your background, and then every other year they don't do a background, so it's $75. You said it was how much over there in New Mexico?
I paid this year $140. I paid last year $140, and I called and I asked USA Boxing in Colorado. I said, do we have to do a background check every year? And they go, yes, you have to do it now.
So here it's every other year. Why?
I have no idea why they changed it, because I have some coaches that say they only paid the 105, and I'm asking them, well, they charged me again 140 for background. And
So your change would be maybe lowering the fees, correct?
I think we need to bring it down where it's reasonable. A lot of these parents don't got that money. So what we do at Crosstown is we sit there and we do fundraising. And whatever fundraising we do, we tell the parents, look, we'll pay half their books. You pay the other half.
Wow.
We buy our kids hoodies. They pay $10 for the hoodie. The parent pays $10 for it.
That's a great idea.
We break it all.
What's the fundraising that you guys do?
Oh, man, we do anything from raffles. First thing I like to do is say, like Christian Ortega, she's one of my moms. She's my team mom. You know, she's awesome. Her and her husband, Mike, they do everything for my team. They have little girl boxes for me. And without Christian, it would be hard for us to do what we do. She's always on top of it. Always raising money, always hustling, always trying to get raffles, always getting car washes set up, bake sales, anything. And also what we do is I have a lot of people who donate or say, look, I want to sponsor a kid, Mike.
Yeah.
So they'll give me the money for a kid.
Like just had registration.
Yeah, I had JJ Romero. He's from El Paso too. But he lives in Las Cruces. Good guy, Border Patrol. And he called me today. Hey, I'm gonna want to register one of your kids. So he brought me the money to my gym and said, here, this is for any one of your kids. So any kid I give who gets sponsored, this year I'm giving them all an 8x10 of that little boxer and uniform radio box.
Cool, man.
They're gonna get something back.
Good.
T-shirts. We usually do is have sponsors. They usually buy the teachers T-shirts and put their sponsorship on the back. And we don't charge the kids for a T-shirt. They train with us for all, they get their T-shirt. They don't buy uniforms. We carry the uniforms. All the kids got to be dressed alike. We go as a team. And see, one thing about my boxing team is I tell my parents, I said, look, when we go fight somewhere, the kids go together. We go all in one van. And we come back together. And I tell them straight up. And I remember one time we were up in Albuquerque and one dad said, I'm going to take my boys out to eat. I said, well, where are we going to go eat? And he goes, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, all these other kids are eating bologna sandwiches. They're eating bologna sandwiches too. Or are you going to feed the whole team?
Do you think you lose clients because of that? Maybe?
No.
Wow, man.
No. Mm-mm. If anything, they respect it more because I'm treating them equal as a team. We do it all together. We stay in the same motel together. The kids don't sleep with their parents in rooms. We get enough rooms, put all the girls together with some moms. The fighters are either with me or Chris Barella. We watch them all. They stay with us. And I tell you what, honestly, the kids, they have a great time. But you can go to some of these events and ask like even some of these teams from El Paso and ask them how Crosstown kids act. They don't run all over the place. Because they just
teach them respect.
Oh, heck yeah. I just got to give it a little whistle and they all knock it off. They know me already.
Yeah, well, look at your muscles, Mike. Man, you're a big guy.
No, you know what? It's the thing is we're still disciplined. And I tell them, the better you look and the sharper you act, people respect you and they'll respect your team.
You're right.
And that's what I tell my kids, you respect yourself.
Well, I mean, obviously Crosstown's doing what it needs to be done, and everything's possible, right, Mike? You're doing so much good for the community, man, and again, having all these teams, having those fundraisers and team moms and all that, and sponsorships as well, sponsoring a kid. So, man, look, man, awesome things that you're doing out there. Your LBC, is there something you would like to change if you had the power to change something with the LBC? We said USA Boxing, let's lower the fees. That comes from the mothership. What about the LBCs? What about the structure? What would you like to see changed?
I think in LBC, when they have a board meeting, I think they need to invite everybody to it or make it an easier way for us to be part of that board meeting.
So where's the board meetings at?
Last time it was in Albuquerque.
So everybody has to travel up to that.
Well, sometimes we don't even know they're having one.
Okay, so wouldn't it make sense that the LBC will have a video conference meeting?
That would even work. That's what we've been discussing, some of us coaches. That's what we like to do. Have a vote. When they had a vote one time on raising the fees at the Silver Gloves. I remember right before the Silver Gloves fight started, the president says, hey, we're going to have a coaches meeting. That's what he said. So usually you have a coaches meeting before any fight. So a lot of coaches didn't go. They said, the head coaches went. We sat there, and then they started having a full board meeting.
Whoa.
about fees going up and everything. Well, I voted. There's a few coaches who voted against it, but we were overrun by like 3 other votes. But we're teams. They weren't teams. These were dads who only had 1 or 2 fighters. So, you know, and us teams were going against it. Man, this is already hurting us as it is. You know, it's hard for them to make these fees. And that's the first thing I said. Look, there's a lot of coaches who just thought it was a regular coaches meeting.
Exactly.
You guys didn't tell them it was a board meeting. And you have to put it out there. You have to let them know. I said, you have to, there should have been an email or something sent out to everybody. Okay, this day we're going to have this meeting, and this is what we're going to discuss. You know, but they didn't. Nobody did it. And so it caught us. And I had brought up, you know, that year, and I said, you know what we need to do is come up with a non-combative athlete rate. So kids can come work out, still get covered through USA.
And they do have one.
And that year they told me, we tried it, it won't ever work. And then it was funny because it came out the next year.
It came out.
And
That's right. That was last year.
And I had a lot of coaches call me saying, man, I don't know what it is, bro. But he goes, you said it, and nobody wanted to do it, and here it came. I said, because not every kid wants to box. Some just want to be there and have somewhere to go and to train and to learn.
So the coverage that you're talking about, and tell the folks what is the coverage.
It allows them. It's called the fitness membership. So they can go there, hit the bags, they can go train, they can learn the technique of boxing. They just can't do sparring.
Okay.
But if they want, you know, I've had, you know, it's funny because you've probably seen it too in your boxing. We have moms come and say, well, he just wants to train, he doesn't want to box.
Of course, all the time.
The next thing they see him sparring, they're saying, I want to do it. I want to try it now.
Yeah.
And I have a kid right now, and he has 19 fights. And his mom brought him in a year and a half ago and says, hey, he doesn't want to box. And he did it. But now he has 19 fights.
19
and
fights.
He's freaking good.
Wow.
I have a little boy named Joe Rowland.
Good.
Like and I mean, they come out. And I tell them, I say, yeah, I heard that before. We'll see. It's like practicing football but never playing the game. They want to try it and see if they like it.
So that membership fee helps these kids also if they break a hand or something, right? Gives them coverage.
Yeah. It's, well, you know, it's like that Sadler insurance. You know, it's always you never know what you're going to get. But you know what? Right now, what my thing is, I'm going to try to push this year, and I'm going to advocate is that I'm trying to get something going in the high schools for boxing. Okay. Santa Fe High School has a boxing team.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop you there because that was my next question. Do you think that boxing will ever be introduced to high school? And you just mentioned Santa Fe has a high school team with a boxing team on it? And how many schools are on part of that pilot program?
They just have that one. Santa Fe High School has it right now. And I was surprised when they came and told me, one of the coaches said, hey, man, they have a Santa Fe team high. And I was like, wow, that's great.
Who do they compete against?
They go down to just regular sanctions, you know, because, you know, they're high schools. And I told him, well, you know what? He goes, yeah, they said they're fighting. The school went down. The trouble they've been having with some of these youth has went down. And I said, well, man, we need to push that.
We need to push that.
And see, and that's what another thing is. I'm reaching out to Hatch, New Mexico, Lordsburg, New Mexico, Silver City, Rio Doso. All those, when I was growing up, all those guys had teams. They don't have teams no more. And if you go to a lot of these places, these kids have nothing to do.
Yeah.
And then they go to drugs, they go to drinking, and they have nowhere else. There's no avenue for these kids.
Do you think you'll get backlash from the city or the high school saying it's too violent?
You know what? It's they're gonna say,
because right now it's the thing right now is the bully thing.
Yeah.
Also, you're going to teach them how to fight. I mean, right? I'm just saying what.
Playing
devil's advocate.
But you know what? What's the difference between boxing and karate, judo?
But it's not in high school.
Yeah, but you know what? The thing is we have
wrestling,
but we have boxing in colleges.
Yeah.
So we have it. Matter of fact, Air Force Academy, where Terry Green's teaching, they have it there.
That's right.
The Ivy Leagues have it. You know, something like you'll see Harvard, they have boxing, but it's you can't blame it promoting fighting. We're not promoting fighting. We're trying to instill some type of discipline.
But that backlash out you get are people saying that have no clue what the sport is.
Yeah, exactly. How about when you got wrestling, you have a kid take another kid down and beats the tar out of him?
And breaks his arm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's still
You know,
contact or
yeah.
football.
And I'll tell you what, you probably have more injuries in football than you do in boxing all year.
Mike, I've always advocated that, at least get 4 high school programs to do a pilot program. It's going to cost money. The schools have the damn money. And that's another creating more jobs for a boxing coach to be a high school teacher.
But also think about it. Boxing's a lot cheaper than any of the other sports.
Of course.
You know, it's a year-long sport.
Year-long sport.
And you pay one time. See, what they register through USA, they're covered. Each fighter's registered through USA, they're covered. You know, and it's not like we're making them go fight. They go choose to box.
Yeah, it's an elective.
And also in high school they got to have the grade point average. They get in trouble, they get released. They have more rules set on.
So, Mike,
them.
what have you done so far in Las Cruces to push this, or it's going to start, or the movement?
That's one of the things I'm going to start trying to. My first thing is I'm trying to chapter out. I'm trying to get people in these small towns to bring something into them.
Good.
And we're trying to offer. We want to talk to some of these small towns and bring like a clinic. Bring some of our little fighters over there. Let the kids see them. Let them do mitts. Let them hit the bags. Draw interest. The last boxing team they had in Hatch, New Mexico was run by Uncle Joe Clark. And then his son ran one in Silver City. And then Lordsburg had another cousin over there running it on Lordsburg. Mm-hmm. But nobody has them anymore.
Wow.
I mean, Deming's is the next small town. Sal's a good guy. Sal, he does a lot too for his community over there in
Sal
Deming.
does a lot of good tournaments.
Oh yeah, I really like Sal. Sal's, you know what? I met Sal after I got started, and that guy's helped me out with a lot. You know, he's a real good guy. Helped me out with the rings, and Rene Carrasco. I mean, we got a good tight fit over there with a lot like House of Pain, myself, Roswell, Deming, Joe Rodriguez here in El Paso, Hector. I mean, and Alpine. Coach Robert,
Jose Guerrero.
Oh my God, those are some
Frank.
good guys, man. I really like those cats.
Well, they're good guys here. Mike, count on us, man. Count on me. I've been trying to push something like that in El Paso to get boxing into the high schools. So anything you need, I'm here for you to help you, man, and travel that journey with you to bringing the sport to the high schools. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Here's on the live watch says Mike loves the kids with all his heart. That's your wife. He never leaves anyone out. He truly brings the whole community together. Alicia Garcia's watching. Lorenzo Vasquez. Leila's watching. Jaime Palacios. Robert Avalos Trujillo says. Roberta Avalos Trujillo, I'm sorry, the biggest advocate for children. Good job, Mike. We're talking to Mike here, folks, on Web Boxing Podcast 101 on Saturday, our first podcast of 2020. What a cool cat is Mike. Mike, you work out, right? And you say you work at a fitness gym?
Yeah, I run a Stay Fit Fitness out of Las Cruces.
So let me ask you a question. Have you seen the documentary Game Changers?
No.
Okay, you don't want to watch it.
No,
I don't.
No, I don't.
It's about plant-based protein. It's about vegan. That how weightlifters. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger comes out of it and says that if he knows now, he should have been on a plant-based protein or vegan all along. That animal protein is bad for us. What do you think about that?
It might be bad, but it's good. It might be bad, but it's good. I don't know. I probably couldn't do it. I like bacon too much.
You know what? Because you obviously lift weights. Does it? And they say that it gives you more power. But if you see the Game Changers documentary on Netflix, it makes you think, man, that if that is true, going vegan, they've studied NFL players, MMA fighters, weightlifters, that vegan is the way to go. I don't know, man. It's hard, huh?
It might be hard to kick something like that.
Oh, yeah, it'll be hard.
Yeah, me myself, I don't know if I could do the vegan part. I know I have one of my trainers. She's a vegan, and
has he changed Game Changers? Tell her to see Game Changers.
Well, Kathy, she competes, and she's in what?
Bodybuilding.
Yeah, she does bodybuilding, and Kathy's been around for a while. She's been a trainer over there at my gym for about 20 some years, and you know what, she's a vegan, and I always tell her, I don't know how you do it. There's no way I can do it. And because
Mike, I want you to see that document. You're probably not going to talk to me after that. You're going to say, the hell with you, Tree.
Yeah, you didn't know I'm going to be eating a lot of vegan stuff.
I had to ask some of my friends that have trailer hitch smokers, and they haven't talked to me yet. Because I told them, see it, and they'll change your life.
No, heck no. You know what? But
so it brings me to the next question real quick. What is a proper diet for kids, because we see kids that are obese, and then obviously in boxing you need to be fit. Do you think that we as a boxing community, coaches, need to be trained to tell their kids how to eat and what to eat and how to prepare for these fights? Because time and time, folks, if you didn't know, time and time, I've seen kids almost faint to make the weight. How can we make our sport a little bit better as far as dieting?
You know what? We got to get. It's like I tell my parents. You know, they get off Takis. The little kids love them Takis, and they love eating
Hot
drinks.
Cheetos.
Oh my God, drinking sodas all day. And I tell them, look, I haven't drank. See, I don't drink. I haven't drank in 19 years. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I haven't drank a soda in like 13 years. I don't do none of that stuff. I tell them my demon comes in a cupcake. I love cakes. So cookies, cake, anything like that, that's my demon. You know, so
That's your kryptonite.
Oh yeah, that gets me. I ain't gonna turn around. I won't eat a whole Thanksgiving meal just to have a piece of pie. You know, but it's like I tell them, I say, look, I don't make my kids cut weight. I'm not going to do that to them. They're still growing, a lot of them.
So that's why you don't like pre-matching.
I don't like pre-matching.
Because of that?
Not
So
only,
just show up to your weight that you're normal and you fight.
I was really surprised when I first came to the amateurs and I went to go check out a fight. I took one of my kids to fight, and he came in at 135. We're going to fight the 135. And then the kid was at 142, and they said, well, he still makes that criteria of 7 pounds. And I was like,
It is 7, yeah.
I go, wait a minute, 7 pounds? I said, that's a lot. So you can be at 150 and come down to 142 and you're making that weight? I said, then he goes and rehydrates. My kid's fighting at 150. I said, no, it doesn't work like that. If you got the 5 pounds, like you're...
So you'll fight a 5-pound differential?
Well,
fair enough?
You know what? It depends on the age. I think if it's
Okay,
like
you're
little
right.
kids, it's not much of a difference. But when you got teenagers, like 14 and going up, that's a big change, especially if you're a 14-year-old fighting a 16-year-old or a 15-year-old.
Well, check this out. We were in Las Cruces. I'm not saying the last one, 2 years ago, and my kid is 16, open.
Mm-hmm.
And they paired him up with the guy that was 31 years old, open. 29 years old. We didn't take the fight.
I wouldn't have took it.
And they told me, what's wrong with you? See, that's what's wrong with boxing coaches. You don't want to take the fight. And I'm like, dude, this guy's almost an adult, man, fighting my kid, 16, man.
Oh, no.
So you think that's
no.
a problem too, man?
I wouldn't have took it.
Then we
Heck,
didn't
no,
take
it's. I mean, you're fighting a grown-up man.
Exactly. So the age has a lot. So So now in this, so if you have a kid that has 0 fights, it's going to be his first fight. What is your criteria in taking a fight? We'd say, you know what, the other kid has to have 0 fights. What if the other kid has 5 fights? Would you still take it? If your kid is new.
Look, the thing is, I try to match him up very close. If I have a kid with 0 fights, I'll put him with a kid maybe 2 or 3. Maybe that's it. 5 is quite a bit. That's still.
But coaches don't understand that.
And yeah, that's the thing is, look, for example, I went up to Roswell. I took one of my boys to fight. He's 14 years old, and it was his first fight. And they matched him up with a kid who came down with 2 fights from Colorado.
Okay.
So we're watching him fight, and my kid's doing pretty good. But I looked at my coach. I go, this kid does not have 2 fights.
Okay. And
I pulled his book. He was an open fighter. They called and lied on the pre-match.
okay, so how do we? Okay, this is so important, man, because you're right. We see it too much time. That's bullshit. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, it is.
YouTube, I apologize. I know I just put that it's a kid's program. But, Mike, again, going back to the LBC being more transparent, time and time we see that my kid has 2 fights, and then you're up and seeing that kid, and he's like you said, that kid does not have 2 fights, and he's an open fighter. How can we combat that?
We, as coaches, when we did, and where I messed up, I should have looked at books.
We
I
never
should
do.
have looked at the book.
They get offended
Exactly.
if you do.
Yeah, and I should have, because when I went and pulled it after that fight, I asked the doctor, I need that book, and I opened it up, and I told the coach, and that coach came on and he goes, "Cause my kid only lost by split."
Wow, you didn't do that
And
bad.
yeah, he didn't. They were sweating. They thought they lost, and I told him, your kid has over 10 fights. I said, he's an open fighter. And I talked to Roswell, Tasha Estonia. She goes, Mike, they called him in at 2 fights. I went and talked to the head official, and he goes, Mike, I didn't check the book. I said, it's all right. Okay, that's fine. But I told the coach, it's an honor system. We got to be honorable people, too.
And that's what we have to teach kids.
Okay, so you want to fight that bad for your kid that you're willing to hurt my kid.
Wow.
And
You're right.
I was upset about it. But me, the thing is, my next show, what I'm trying to get sanctioned together, and we're working on is
Count us in.
a novice. I want to do a novice show.
Okay, tell me about it.
Well, because what's happening is a lot of these teams are just bringing down their best fighters.
Yeah.
They don't want to bring all their open. We need to do something for new fighters, kids coming in, because none of my novice kids ever get matched. Very rare. So I take, like I said, when I take kids to fight, I take about 15, 16 kids. Last time I went to Roswell, I took 17 kids. And I only had 3 pre-matched. Then we walked out with 8 fights. The 3 I had pre-matched from Albuquerque didn't even show up against my good fighters. We fought other kids.
So do you think, Mike, that going back to the story that you just told, do you think it was what was her name?
Tasha?
Do you think they and again, no offense to them, do you think they dropped the ball as a promoter? You think you should take the books?
No, you know what? I think because it happens. As coaches, we should have did it.
But we don't, because we don't want to offend you, because they get mad.
You know what? Now I don't care. I'm not going to care about offending nobody.
I wouldn't mess with you, Mike.
I get along with all the coaches, and people, they've been asking me when we're going to throw our next show. Southern New Mexico Throwdown. I think what we need to do is we base our kids, do it right, and we got to worry about it's like my father used to say, you don't put a little dog against a big dog, because then he's going to take the fight out of the little dog.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's going to make him scared. And, my kids, I try to watch everything, and I tell the parents all the time, look, if you're going to go, don't expect your kid to fight, because things happen. Like I told you, the pre-matching bothers me a lot. So, but now what we're going to do on pre-matching, because I had so many pull out on my pre-matches on the Southern Throwdown, I had 31 fights still. And that was still a lot of fights. Mm-hmm. But I had a lot of teams who just didn't show up, so I had to find another fighter. Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to do on my next show, if I have to do pre-matching, I'll tell coaches right there, you're going to put a $50 deposit. If you don't show up, you're paying the ticket for that team who did show up. Because it's not right.
Right, for the people that are traveling.
I had Odessa.
Exactly.
I had a young boy from Odessa show up at my show. He just fighted the night before Albuquerque said, yeah, I'll be there. We're going to be there.
Yeah,
Didn't show up.
It happens more and more.
And the dad was upset, and I told him, give me your room ticket, give me your gas money, and I paid him. I said, I'm sorry. He goes, Mike, you don't have to do that. We know it was your... No, I said, no.
So 2 things here. Going back to that, what you just said, it's going to be a fee. Do you think also maybe let's take out the fee because it's a money thing? I'm not saying you're wrong, but what about suspending that kid for at least 6 months if he doesn't come in, like what you just said? You think that'll also be a deterrent?
Yeah, but being a sanctioned team and we're not part of the LBC, we can govern on our show. What we're doing is we're telling them, put it there and make a commitment. If you're going to make a commitment, be there.
Well, it's just like the honor system, Mike. Going back to, tell the truth. Also, do you think having more meetings with all the coaches and talking about ethics and having an honor system, goddamn, adults cheating is teaching kids how to cheat.
Exactly, and it is.
But then you see it all over the sports world. Huh? How about those Astros? I'm just kidding. Put that
up. You know what? It's sad. You were trying to teach a moral there.
And the adults don't do it.
And
the coaches don't do it. And time you see the coaches also act like fools.
Yeah. Oh man, I've seen it, and I sit there and I laugh about it sometimes, because and they'll come and tell me something. I'll tell them, look, you guys forget where we're at, and it goes on both sides. You can have a bad decision,
of course,
but I don't throw a fit up there. And I tell my
human error.
And I tell my kids, man, I tell them, look, you take a loss like you take a win. You come out with your heads up. I don't do no crying, no nothing.
Good,
because it took a man to get up there or a young lady to get up there and be in front of everybody and fight.
Mike, I don't get it. I'm looking at you, man. How come you don't run for president for the LBC? Jesus Christ.
You know what?
You'd be a good advocate for that. And I think a lot of people will agree with me.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Jesus.
Maybe one day I had thought about it. I had a couple ask me this year, and I said, nah. You know why? Because it takes a lot of my time. And right now, my kids right now depend on me. And the hype with them is it's beautiful, man.
That's great, man.
I love seeing them because when we were building our building this time, and I told Coach, I asked kids, hey, whoever wants to help us clean out the old gym and do this stuff, text Coach if you need a ride. I had 23 kids there.
That's awesome, Mike, because of your leadership.
Yeah, they all showed up.
It's your leadership,
Coach,
my friend.
come get me. Coach, can you come pick me up? Coach, I want to go. And they were all there,
That's awesome,
sweeping
man.
and cleaning. And I even had the little peewees, because I have little 4-year-olds up to about 7-year-olds. and those guys are the little non-athlete. We just kind of work with them, show them how to hit the bags, and then we throw them outside and let them go play. Because I can only give them about an hour because they'll drive me nuts. Twice a
Mike,
week.
it's so awesome. Danny Melendez said that now you can look up a fighter's record online when you log into USA Boxing Web Point. Not 100% accurate, but it's getting better as opposed to seeing the fighter's book. But I think, and that's good too, but I think the best one is asking the coach, hey, you're going to find my kid. Can I see the kid's book?
Yeah, you know what?
Here it is.
You know, and the thing is, like Danny said, yeah, you can look it up. But if you go look at them, you're gonna be really surprised. A lot of them don't report it.
A lot of them don't report
There's
it.
a lot of it's not being reported.
Exactly.
And you know, it's whether you give it or not. You know,
It boils down to
Yeah,
the coach's ethics.
yeah.
And look, let me tell you something, folks. It's about safety too, man. Why do you want to hurt the other kid?
Exactly.
And I've been in that spectrum too. We've had kids up there, and we were the new team also, and we didn't know better. But we were up there, and we seen these kids, man, almost killed our kid, man. And you're like, Jesus Christ, man.
When I started boxing, we didn't wear hair getters. You know, when
Yeah.
I was a kid, I remember going to fights with my dad. And they couldn't find me a fight, and they get on stage and say, "We're looking for a fighter for this kid right here, this way." And next thing I know, I'm fighting a kid across the ring, 11 or 12 years old. He's wearing jeans.
Good times,
Just
man.
a tough kid, man.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
like,
good.
God, man, he would just throw me in with anybody.
My major sports throughout have made major adjustments as far as making their sports safer. Case one example, like the NFL researching the concussion factor and changing rules and making safer helmets. In boxing, how can we make the sport safer? In 2019, we've had 2 to 3 fighters die, pro fighters die, and an amateur fighter in the UK. How can we make boxing safer, man? What do you think can be a safer avenue for athletes in our ring? In the whole platform of boxing.
I think a lot of it starts off with their trainers and their coaches.
Okay,
I
how?
think we're knowledgeable enough that we know our fighters. If they're not seeming right, they're not looking right, if they're having trouble making weight, if you know, fighters always tell you something. They're always going to give you a little key. Hey, man, I haven't been feeling good. I've been having headaches. We're going to get that checked out.
But do you think
man.
the aura comes in? Oh, you're a pro. You're a tough guy. You better get up there.
Man, you know what? That's beside the point, because, you know, you got a lot of these champions who just get a sprained finger and they don't fight. You know, and you got these kids. Not when we have all these amateur kids. No, we can't do that to them. I won't do it.
Can the LBCs make it safer too?
Yeah, you know what? Really, like I said, LBC, I think they do enough. I think the headgears and everything, I think that's pretty much enough. But I think it falls back on us coaches. I really do.
Oh, okay.
I think
Fair
our
enough.
dieting, our training, and everything. That's, if you mean your kids, I think they get hurt if they're not prepared.
And you're right, Mike. I mean, I've seen coaches go when they come in here and they're preparing for a fight. Other teams come in. I saw a kid go 12 rounds, man, of 3. I mean, when is it excessive? When is it too much for the kid? Right? It's coaches.
Exactly. You know, when we do our sparring, that's one of the things. And I got some little kids who just love to fight. You know, and you're like, okay, not today. You know,
Yeah,
you're not doing it today.
You're a coach. You gotta put the.
And we try to do is we put them basically. We do round robins here, but we always make sure they're at the same level. My girls at the same level. And if you got a kid who's too good, you tell them, look, you got to work with him. He's learning. Okay, I'll work. And that's a good thing, because, I mean, I see some of these coaches and I'm like, God, man, that's way too much.
Excessive. I've seen it all the time.
I'm scared. You know, it's just like, you know, when I used to see, like, I'd go down the street because I lived right by a football field, and I would see all these little kids in the middle of summer out there in football pads, and I'm like,
Yeah,
man, these
100
are
and
5 and 6 year olds.
Yeah.
What the heck are you doing? And
Yeah.
I coached football for a long time. And I said, man, you don't do that to them, you know. And it's the same thing. Dehydration, trying to make weight, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. It's a dangerous thing to do. You know, I tell my kids, look, I weigh you in, that's what I'm sending you in at. It's now you to maintain that weight. You know, yeah, I could try to drop them down 5 more, 6 more pounds. I'm not going to do it. You weighed in 80 pounds, you're fighting 80 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, that's it, period. So don't go up. You stay there. That's your normal weight.
Okay, yeah, right.
You know,
They're not pro fighters.
I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you. I don't want it to be. I want them to have a good time. I want them to go out there and do something.
Exactly.
And as long as they enjoy themselves and you don't put that much pressure on them, they're going to stick to the sport a lot longer.
And then also, I guess you can agree also having more clinics for the officials as far as what are the warning signs of dehydration, what are the concussion protocols, and you might have a doctor that knows it, but you might have a doctor that doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the doctors should also. I think we should implement clinics for the doctors to actually come in and just know boxing.
Yeah,
in general.
You know, that's one of the hardest things too right now is any time we have a sanctioned event, it's hard to find a doctor.
Exactly.
And I've had a few doctors in cruises and they say, yeah, we'll do it, but then they have to do that whole USA testing and they're like, oh man, you know what? I'm trying to volunteer time, you know?
Yeah, why do I have to give my Social Security up?
And you know, you're trying to do everything to bring everybody in. You know, like I said, we're trying to build something and develop something for our kids. We want somewhere for our kids to be able to go. The new gym I got is in a bad area, Las Cruces. I have all the people around say, man, it's a rough neighborhood. It's a rough neighborhood. And it's just about not even that far from the rough neighborhood I came from, you know, about half a block. And I tell them, look, if I can bring some goodness in this area with the kids and these people see it's happening.
Good. You can bring some.
I said.
You make a difference.
It's going to change. It's going to change here. And I said, people are going to see kids doing something. I mean, and that's what we want them to do. We want them to see that. I mean, you got boxing teams in the roughest parts of town.
Yeah.
Boxing, you know.
You're right.
But you got to have somewhere for these kids to go. And that's what we want. I just want my kids to be happy and feel safe where they're at.
And Mike, tell us where Crosstown Boxing's at.
Right now, we are located at 822 Quisenberry in Las Cruces, New Mexico.
There's the invite, folks. Go see Mike and his wonderful staff, his wife as well. And they'll pretty much get you in the right direction. Mike, it's been a great pleasure to talk boxing with you, man. And again, I mean, you're a person that impacts a lot of lives, man, and people. And man, you've impacted here at Warriors Edge. And I want you to know something, Mike, and everybody, all the Crosstown Empire. You have a home here with us. Warriors Edge is allied with you, and anything you need, we're here to help you, man.
Man, I appreciate it. I really do.
You got it, Mike.
Like I said, El Paso's been good to us through Las Cruces. Been good to my team since when I first started.
Good.
And I give a lot of respect to Joe Rodriguez, Hector. You know, these guys are awesome.
You know that now.
Awesome.
Now Hector's a solo guys now. We don't have a vice president no more.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Joe didn't opt to run again. We only have a president, which is Hector Espinosa. Yeah. As a matter of fact, real quick, they're bringing in a clinic February the 14th and 15th. Real quick, it's the Bronze El Paso Clinic, February the 15th and 16th. I'm sorry. It's the USA Boxing Bronze Clinic. Is designed to introduce high-performance boxing concepts and practices to boxing coaches working with new novice and or club fighters. This is a 16-hour course. And with participants spending 85% of the time out of their seats and in the floor experience drills, for example, importance of dynamic warm-ups, coordination drills, teaching lessons, basic offensive and defenses, how to work the corner, developmental model, you name it. But that's going to be, you can look it up on USA Boxing and the fees and all that. It's going to be at the El Paso County Coliseum, 4100 East Paisano. The instructor is Chadrick Wiggle, and his number is 719-866-2317. And I believe the clinic's like $100 going back to fees.
Yeah.
But they're bringing them here for the Bronze Clinic. I mean,
See, and I know there's a lot of controversy. A lot of people are upset with it as coaches because they say now you have to have that bronze coaches on you to go to the big tournaments to take your kids.
Like the nationals.
But see, that to me, that's just another add-on. That's just another fee add-on to these coaches.
What you were talking about.
Yeah, it's about money.
And it comes down from the mothership of USA
exactly.
Boxing.
So you're gonna take a bunch of coaches and send them something what they've been doing for a long time.
Yeah.
To get them to another level, bronze, and then there's gonna be a silver, and then you have the gold.
But what happens if you don't go to the nationals?
Yeah, exactly.
What is the incentive? What is the incentive for the coach? Exactly.
Yeah.
Are they gonna give you a discount on your next gym membership? What is the incentive? And you're right.
Yeah. To me, it doesn't benefit me. No. It doesn't because I don't go to the national tournaments. The reason being is I've had parents and I've had coaches tell me before to say, "Well, why don't you just take your best fighters?" I said, because I'm not going to choose and pick. That's not me.
I like that, man.
If my kids show up to train and they want to fight, I'm I can't do that to them, because then that's when you start showing the favoritism on fighters, showing the favoritism of the sports that kids left because that's what was happening before.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do
like
that.
that, Mike.
So that's when I tell my kids, and I tell all my kids the same thing. You fundraise, you go to the fights. You don't fundraise, you're not going. If I have a little kid there who went and fundraised, made $500, but they're not fighting it, but they want to go look at it, I'm going to take them before I took you.
Wow, that's, man, you have some great ideas, Mike. So, again, Mike, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, man. Crosstown Boxing, I want to have you back on the show in the future.
It.
So, we're back to the segment here to close out the show with rapid fire. You ready, Mike?
Yeah, let's try it. Wait,
Let's do 10 questions of rapid fire.
All right.
12 rounds or 15 rounds for boxing?
I grew up watching 15. I like 15.
All right. The best heavyweight fighter of all time?
My favorite one, George Foreman.
George Foreman. Which is better, CrossFit or weight training? for a boxer.
For a boxer, you know what? Well, CrossFit has a lot of has weightlifting in it too, just lightweight.
Deadlift weight.
Yeah, and plus it also has the dead weights.
Yeah.
Deadlift. Oh no, I'd say CrossFit.
Yeah, why CrossFit?
It's because it works all muscles. It just doesn't isolate just one.
So I'm assuming that in your boxing regimen, you have some weight training along with CrossFit.
Yes, we have some tires. We have some sledgehammers. I have a couple. I have some Smith machines. CrossFit will go light.
All right, man. Best New Mexico pro fighter.
To me.
Yeah, to you. Best New Mexico pro fighter to Mike Clark.
Right now, I think it's Vasquez or Ariana. I like Ariana. She's a good girl. And then the second one would be Amy. But Amy's still coming up.
All right,
so,
good.
yeah, I'll take them.
Best boxing announcer?
Bradley. I like Bradley.
Timothy Bradley.
Yeah, I like Timothy Bradley.
ESPN analyst. Who wins, Tyson or Ali?
I'll take Ali.
Why?
Because he's more a boxer, and Tyson couldn't handle Holyfield.
So
he was a boxer.
We go back to what more Wilder was Tyson, even though he had a little bit of skills. But Ali was skillful.
But Holyfield outboxed him, and he just knew he did the same thing what Ali would do, just tie him up.
Tie him up. Best television network for boxing?
The Zone.
Why The Zone, man?
I just like the fighters they have. They've been having some good fighters coming out and putting on a good show.
Well, The Zone guarantees up to 85 world title fights a year. I don't like The Zone too much because of the announcers. I'm an announcer, as you can see. I don't like the commentary.
No, that's
Sucks.
one thing. I don't like the commentary.
HBO.
What's his name? The announcer, the Hispanic guy.
Sergio Mora.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about him.
No, not even the female reporter up there in the ring. None of them.
It's just She has some dumb questions, but I like the fights.
I like the fights.
With the commentators.
Yeah, I don't like the commentators. Horrible. Even Sugar Ray Leonard, not a good commentator.
No,
I miss the years of HBO, Jim Lampley, Max Kellerman, all those guys.
The one I don't like is that guy from when he was on ESPN.
Teddy Atlas.
God, that guy drives me nuts.
I like Teddy Atlas.
I know, he gives me a headache.
You know what? Also, I guess the good commentary would be Showtime right now.
Yeah,
there's some very good commentators.
They do. They always have good commentators.
Instant replay review in boxing, yes or no?
No.
Why not?
No. I mean, I think it might be if it's a foul or a headbutt or something, and they try and call it a punch.
Well, either you're in or you're out. I mean, do you think we should have it in boxing like in other sports to have it in MLB, NFL? It'll
slow it down.
Okay.
I think it'll slow it down. No, I don't want to deal with it.
Okay, good. Yeah. Best pro trainer in boxing right now, or coach?
Me, I think Robert Garcia.
Robert Garcia still has a good stable of fighters, and he's pretty good, huh?
He's good, man.
He's very good.
I like Robert Garcia.
All right, the last question, number 10, is Wilder or Fury 2 on February 22nd. Who wins and why?
Man, you know, they're both. I haven't seen too much of Fury lately. And Wilder, whoever fights him, I'll just put it back on. I'll put it back on Wilder. I think Wilder will still take him.
Yeah, he'll take him.
Yeah, I still think he'll take him. I think it's been too long. Fury's been out too long. Too much of a break.
Yeah, I think Wilder will take him as well.
Comes in too rusty.
Mike, again, it's been a pleasure. Any last words for your... then thanks for playing Rapid Fire. Hope you enjoyed it.
Well, it was kind of quick. Caught me on a couple.
Do you... any last words to your boxing community, Empire fans? Anything you wanted last words to say on the podcast?
Crosstown is wanting to thank all the people who've been helping us this year and donating their time to help us try to get this gym on 2020 going. We appreciate everybody. I want to do a shout out to my wife, Erica Clark. She's always there helping me, and without her being there to help me push this, it's great. And I'm sorry they only know you as Coach's wife. Half the kids don't know your name, just go to Coach's wife. And Christian Ortega, Chris Barella, Mike Saviejo. I mean, these guys, Ray Solis for helping us doing the painting of the pasture, Isidro, who's helping us build that loft for the kids when the teams come in. There's so many people in Erasmus Campos, because, you know, he gives a lot to the kids and he helps the community. And I just wish that Las Cruces, the city of Las Cruces, would just give a little bit more out to the kids and help us. Help the community, help these kids. And let's show them that they're important. It's tired of putting all these. If you ain't got money, and you ain't got the money to play sports, I say it's sad. There should never be a reason why a kid cannot participate due to money. There's too many diamonds in the rough being left behind.
Good.
And we got to open the doors. And I'm hoping all these coaches can see that and understand that. And I respect all you coaches who want to go out there and give to the kids. Renee, Danny Melendres, Joe Triste, Henry Cabrera, everybody. Sal, Tasha, Bully Boxing, you guys are great people. And I hope to see you this year, and we'll do some more fights.
Yeah, I mean, what a great message from Crosstown Boxing. It's been a pleasure, Mike. We're part of your journey as well. Anything you need, you can visit us here at Warriors Edge Boxing at our podcast. Whenever you want to come back, you're more than welcome to come back with us and join us, man.
Same to us. As soon as we open and get it done, we'll give you guys a grand opening. We're going to have a grand opening when we get everything done at a new location.
I would love to go.
And you guys come on down there and eat some hot dogs and stuff, and we'll do it all
right,
together.
you got it, man. Folks, in closing, like I've always said, before we close, and like I've always said something, we're going to want to just promote that Fight for Legacy. Jennifer Hahn, February the 15th at the El Paso County Coliseum. Jennifer Hahn, the IBF Featherweight World Champion, takes on Jerry Stites. It's going to be a clash of the Titans. So go out there to the El Paso Coliseum and let's support Jennifer Hahn, our local champion. The IBF World Champion takes on Jerry Stites. In a great, and there's going to be some good undercards as well also. And also, I wanted to just bring up also February the 1st. It's going to be the Las Cruces Austin Trout at the Inn of the Mountain Gods taking on the fight. We'll be posting it on our website, both fights, at www.warriorsedgeboxing.com and on the boxing online magazine called Boxing Reporter. So we want to give a shout out to them. And then also on the undercard of that Austin Trout reality boxing show, I believe, it's going to be Abel Mendoza. Also, he's making some headlines as well. So we got some big fights coming up locally, but also, folks, let's put amateur shows on the map, and let's support our amateur kids. And what a blueprint we have here with Mr. Mike Clark. So again, thanks, Crosstown Boxing. I have been your host, Tree, from Warriors Edge Boxing, and anything you do in life, put God first. This has been our Saturday show. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a great weekend. See you later.
Five, four, 3, 2, 1, 0.